Building wealth is never a math problem you solve with a simple calculator. It is a deeply complex biological battle against your own caveman instincts. Can't master mind even the perfect formula will fail you.
When your bank balance is zero, your prefrontal cortex is effectively hijacked. You stop processing future opportunities and start fearing the next immediate bill. This constant state of survival mode makes you strategically blind to growth. Chronic financial scarcity actually lowers your functional IQ by several points. You make bad life decisions because your brain is exhausted from firefighting. Real wealth building cannot begin until this biological fog finally lifts. There is a precise threshold where this biological pressure finally disappears. That magic number for most people is exactly $20,000. Once you cross this line, the hidden game of money changes forever. At this level, you finally gain the psychological oxygen needed to plan ahead. You are no longer just reacting to life, you are starting to design it. This buffer is the foundation for every intelligent move you will ever make. You have officially reached the crest of your long, steep financial hill. The back-breaking work of pushing against gravity is finally behind you. From this moment on, momentum starts working for you, not against you. The math shifts here because your second 20,000 arrives much faster. At an 8% return, your existing capital shaves months off the timeline. This is the beautiful reality of compound interest starting to take control. For the first time in your life, you have a silent partner working by your side. Your original 20,000 is now generating its own independent income. You are no longer the only one putting in all the heavy lifting. Most people hit this milestone and immediately kill their momentum with a car. Buying a depreciating asset now is mathematically devastating to your future. You are essentially murdering your forest before the seeds can even sprout. Smart people do not just see 20,000, they see the 200,000 it becomes. Every major expense is a direct trade-off against your future freedom. Choose the long-term legacy over the short-term dopamine hit today. What you have actually unlocked is genuine professional leverage. It is the psychological power to say no to a toxic environment without immediate fear of ruin. This money allows you to walk away from dependency on any boss or stressful job forever. This $20,000 foundation is your entire financial future in a concentrated form. It must be protected and nurtured at all costs like a living, breathing seed. It is the single most vital behavioral habit you will ever master in your life. Most people spend their entire lives running inside this invisible, exhausting wheel. They work harder only to pay for a lifestyle that keeps them trapped in the exact same spot. Breaking this cycle requires a system of saving, not just a higher monthly salary. You need to stop being the engine and start becoming the architect of your own wealth. Wealth is built by designing pipes that move money while you are busy sleeping or living life. This milestone is the first major valve you finally learn how to control. Relying on willpower alone is the most common mistake in the world of personal finance. Human discipline is a finite resource that eventually runs out during stressful times. Smart individuals automate their consistency so they never have to make a difficult choice again. Your brain is biologically hardwired to seek immediate hits of dopamine through impulsive spending. That new purchase high is a clever biological trap designed to keep you financially poor. Real wealth requires a much higher level of neurochemical and emotional maturity. The desperate need to look rich is the single biggest barrier to actually becoming rich. True status comes from the assets you own, not the expensive labels you show off to strangers. Your bank account does not need an audience or social media approval to grow. This $20,000 buffer is your ultimate protection against total economic volatility. While everyone else panics over inflation or market shifts, you operate from a place of deep calm. Stability is the most powerful competitive advantage you can have in a chaotic market. You are now standing firmly on the first real step of a massive and rewarding staircase. Each milestone you hit after this point will feel much lighter and more natural to achieve. The momentum of your first true success will carry you all the way to the next level. Patience is the final and most important ingredient that turns modest savings into a massive fortune. Your job now is simply to stay consistent, trust the math, and avoid interfering with the growth. Time will do the heavy lifting while you focus on living your best life. This initial capital is the master key that unlocks all your future high-level opportunities. It opens doors to investments and ventures that remain permanently closed to the average person. You are no longer just a spectator. You are now an active player in the world of finance. Think of your savings like a small snowball at the very top of a massive snowy mountain. The first few rotations are the hardest and require almost all of your physical force to move. But once it gains sufficient mass, the momentum becomes an unstoppable force of nature. You are finally ticking off the most important boxes in the long and difficult game of life. These are not just numbers on a screen, they are milestones of your personal discipline and character. Most people only talk about freedom, but you are the one actually building it today. In the beginning, your direction is always more important than the speed at which you travel. Many people run incredibly fast in the wrong direction and still end up completely broke. You have finally found the true north of sustainable and long-term wealth building. Your financial stress was a constant silent drain on your mental and creative energy for years. Now that your basic survival is covered, your creativity and ambition will finally start to explode. You now have the mental energy to build empires instead of just surviving shifts. You have successfully built the bridge between being a lifelong employee and a future owner. Crossing this gap is exactly what separates the struggling middle class from the truly wealthy. It is a one-way journey toward total financial sovereignty and personal independence. Truly wealthy people look at small amounts of money through the powerful lens of time. They see the massive future potential hidden inside every single dollar they choose to save today. This unique perspective is the ultimate secret shared by the top 1% of earners. The exact moment you understand this mathematical logic, a permanent light turns on in your mind. You can never go back to being a blind, impulsive consumer ever again in your life. Your entire brain has been upgraded to a professional wealth-building operating system. The heavy anchor of debt and financial desperation has finally been lifted from your shoulders. You are no longer held down by the weight of your past mistakes or society's expectations. The horizon ahead is finally clear, and the wind is now firmly at your back. The entire world looks very different when you are no longer struggling just to survive the week. You can finally start thinking about your lasting legacy and your positive impact on others. This is the exact point where your real life and your real journey finally begin. Now that you have built this foundation, your primary job shifts from accumulation to absolute protection. You must defend this capital against bad investments, emotional impulses, and unnecessary risks. A fortress is only as strong as its weakest gate, so keep your security tight. Volatility is not the same thing as risk. It is simply the price you pay for long-term growth. When you have a $20,000 buffer, short-term market dips no longer keep you awake at night. You can finally afford to think in decades while everyone else is panicking over days. This milestone creates a psychological fountain that feeds all your other future financial goals. From this core capital, you can begin to fund your business ideas, your education, or your family's future. You have moved from a state of constant leaking to a state of overflow. In the game of money, you have finally promoted yourself from a pawn to a powerful player. You now have the luxury of strategy, patience, and calculated moves that were impossible before. Every decision you make from now on is backed by the power of your existing capital. The leap from 0 to 20,000 is significantly harder than the leap from 20 to 100,000. You have already completed the most difficult part of the entire wealth-building journey. The momentum you have built is now your greatest employee and your fastest accelerate. Your mind is now a filter that automatically separates high-value opportunities from cheap distractions. You no longer chase every get-rich-quick scheme because you already have a system that works. This clarity of vision is the true hallmark of a sophisticated and wealthy mind. You are finally learning how to trade your capital for time, instead of always trading your time for capital. This balance is the ultimate goal of every successful person on the planet. When your money works, you gain the freedom to choose exactly how you spend your hours. This money isn't just for luxury, it's a shield of love for your family and your future self. It ensures that an unexpected medical bill or a car repair doesn't turn into a family crisis. True wealth is the ability to handle life's problems without breaking your spirit or your bank. Think of your first $20,000 as the primary fuel tank for your financial life's rocket. It takes an incredible amount of energy just to leave the launch pad and break through the atmosphere. But once you reach orbit, you can travel incredible distances with almost zero effort. The path is clear, the math is proven, and the psychological breakthrough is finally within your reach. Don't let another year pass by just surviving when you could be thriving and building your empire. Start today, protect your first 20,000, and change your family's history forever.
You are not just saving money for yourself, you are literally rewriting the financial DNA of your entire family line. By breaking the cycle paycheck to paycheck, you ensure the future generation's strength.
There is a massive bridge between those who work for money and those whose money works for them. Most people spend their entire lives trying to find the entrance to this bridge, but you have already crossed the midpoint. Every dollar you add now makes the structure stronger and the journey toward the other side much faster. You cannot build a massive structure on a weak and shaky foundation of debt and impulsive spending habits. This milestone is the solid concrete slab upon which your entire financial empire will eventually stand tall. With a $20,000 safety net, you finally have the altitude to see the entire landscape of your life. You are no longer trapped in the bushes, constantly worried about the next predator or the next storm. You can now soar above the chaos and make long-term decisions from a position of total clarity. Money has a strange and powerful magnetic quality that most people never get to experience in their lives. The more you have, the easier it becomes to attract even more opportunities, better deals, and higher returns. Your first 20,000 is the core that only grows stronger with every passing year. True wealth isn't about being flashy. It's about the peace of mind you feel when you go to sleep at night. Knowing that your family is protected from life's unexpected storms is the greatest luxury money can ever buy. This fund is your personal insurance policy against the stresses that break most people's spirits. The door to the world of the wealthy is not locked from the outside, it is simply guarded by a lack of capital. Now that you have the key, you will realize that the opportunities were always there, just waiting for you to be ready. You are finally ready to step through and see what is actually possible for your future.
Most people fail because they lack the discipline to stay consistent when the results are still invisible. By reaching this milestone, you have proven to yourself that you belong in the top tier of financial thinkers. This is your gold medal for discipline, and it is the most valuable asset you will ever own.
Your first savings were just a tiny spark, but today, that spark has grown into a steady and reliable flame. It is your responsibility to keep that flame burning, to protect it from the winds of temptation and to let it grow into a fire. The journey doesn't end here. In many ways, the real adventure is only just beginning for you today. You have the tools, you have the mindset, and most importantly, you now have the capital to back it up. Go out there, stay consistent, and build the life you were always meant thanking live.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Money Decode. Let's meet you in the next video.